if you agree to do a job and you get offered another job after you've agreed to do the first job, you probably need to honor your commitment to the first job. Sometimes, you know, you can find ways out. I mean, it's tough, you know. You just have to kind of follow your heart and trust that you're making the right decision. But, you know, I love when people go, do you make a lot of money as a voice actor or an actor? I'm like, well, you know, I don't know. You know, I did a spot the other day for ConocoPhillips and made $16,000. Really? You make $16,000 a day? No. I've done that once in 48 years. So, you know, you have to just do what you want to do. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's great. But those jobs, you know, they don't come every day.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to just be prepared to do them when they come and be available when they come. So, I don't know if that really answered your question.
I think your question is actually pretty interesting because even though you're talking about stage managing and other things that are in the theater world that aren't acting, here's the thing, it's pretty much a question that will arise in almost any field that you do. What job do I take for what amount and stuff? And like John said, I have the agreement that if you agree to one job and another better job comes along, and you already agreed to one job, you should probably honor that first job. That said, it's totally fine for you to go to them and say, hey, I have a better opportunity, is it okay? Or can I help you find a replacement? And sometimes it might work out that way, like you can help them find a replacement. But if they say no, then you kind of committed already. That's my feeling. But there are options if you communicate, there might be some other solution to it. And interesting enough, in terms of like acting, oftentimes, I don't do that much on-camera work, but I know that people who do a lot of on-camera acting, they have this dilemma where they are on TV shows a lot, but they are under 5. You guys know what under 5 is? It means you have 5 lines or less, under 5 lines, right? So, but it's still a big deal. You're on a major television show, but they have like 3 lines, 4 lines, whatever. That said, casting directors call them in all the time, and they work all the time on various shows, but they are under 5. And the casting director has thought of them as one of those types of actors. So then they get a point in their career, and it's kind of a decision they have to make. Do I start turning down work? Because now that I've done all this stuff, I want to go to the next level. But all these casting people view me as like an under 5 actor. So they're not going to view me as a guest star or a series regular or something larger to call me in for those parts until I basically step up and say, I'm not going to do those under 5 roles anymore. That said, it's a risk because you're turning away money, you're turning away jobs, and you're potentially maybe pissing off the casting director. You know? It's a really, really tricky kind of decision. It's the same way with like some of the union on union stuff in LA, you know. Some actors will get to a point where they say, I'm not doing non-union work anymore. And it's a risk, because what if they don't get any union jobs? Then they're losing out on, so it is, it's a personal decision, but you kind of have to weigh for yourself what you think is right. And part of that too is deciding for yourself what your self-worth is, you know. If you put your own value low, other people, even if you're awesome to them, are not going to put your value high. Because everyone's trying to get the cheapest they can out of any, it's rule of business. So even if you're, well, there are translators or script writers or whatever, and it's freelance work, and people say, well, how much do you charge? You know? You need to know your own work so that you set a decent rate, and you stick to it, and you take, it is a risk, but that you're not undervaluing yourself. I remember one time, Chris Sabat, you guys all know Chris Sabat, he was Overtron. He had said something about clients, how it's really funny about those clients that come and ask him to produce an entire show or a game. And he says, you know what? It's always the cheap jobs that are the most pain in the butt. Whenever he gets a client who wants to pay very little for a job, they're always the ones like nitpicking and wanting everything changed and whatever. And I think it's because the clients who are only paying a little feel like, well, I must be getting only this level of quality because I'm only paying this much. Even though that's not true, but that's just something in human nature that happens, you know? So the client got a ton of money, they're almost like hands off, it's easy.
Yeah.
You know? There's no headache, not picky, not anything, and they're paying all this money. And it's weird, it's like an able tax in a way. That like if you're paying that much money, you're almost more willing to do all those little details, but after time they never ask for it because they trust that you're worth what they're paying. And you are. But that's just something to be aware of when you're deciding what jobs to make.
And just so you know, I'll give you an example of something that happened to me about a year ago. I got called to go in to do some voice work, and I said, okay, great. It was only a couple hours. And the director called me a day later and said, hey, I need to reschedule you because I need to bring somebody else in and they're only available on that time. Can you reschedule? And I said, yeah, that's fine. We'll move it to the next week or whatever's good for you. I said, great. Well, like 2 days later, I got called by my agent. I got booked on something really big, and I was like, so I called this guy, the director, back, and I said, hey man, I was wondering, I know we rescheduled already, but I just got booked on this. Can we reschedule again? And he was like, no, just forget it, I'll recast it. I was like, oh, well, all right, I'm sorry. And he was like, yeah, we'll get you on the next time. Never heard from him since then. And, you know, that's just, I had to, you know, roll the dice and go with it. I mean, was it the right thing to do? I don't know. But, you know, just, you have to make a choice and live with it. So, anyway, good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
My question was way too similar to that, so I was just wondering if I could get hugs from you guys.
Afterwards, yeah, maybe.
Okay, for Stephanie, this is for you to answer as Natalia.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I wrote that anymore, okay?
Well, you can still act in character if worse comes to worse.
Okay.
If you had to go on a date with one of these three people, or else you would have to eat the cooking of Rain Sage, who would it be? Would it be A, Jade, B, Dis, or C, John Swasey?
Remember, it's like having 3 dicks.
It would totally be Johnson.
Okay.
Out of there. This is kind of a twofold thing. This is for Stephanie answering Yui's voice and John in Lord Death. What's your take on the brony scene? And number 2, can you do a quick improv of Yui and Lord Death as sportscasters? Yeah. I was asking about your take on the brony scene in Yui's and Lord Death's voice.
Bronies. Do you know what bronies are?
No, I don't.
My Little Pony.
Oh, bronies.
Yeah.
You know, I was at a convention in Miami, and I met some ponies.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell me about it.
You know, if you like ponies, man, more pony to you.
All right.
I'm not a pony fan, so I don't really know much about ponies. But are you a pony? I mean, I'm probably saying this. I am a pony. I don't know if you're a pony.
I think that ponies are really cute, and I think the My Little Ponies I like them. I love when people dress up as them, and I personally think that the brony scene, while people think is creepy, I think it's awesome, because who says that boys can't like cute things? I really think it's like sexist to say that, to be like, oh, whatever, just because it's a guy and you don't I think that's awesome that guys, and these are guy guys who are like, yeah, My Little Ponies, and I think that's
you know, yeah, a very quick improv of Yui and Lord Death as sportscasters on SportsCenter.
Sports cast, all right.
Look at,
Well, here we are.
Yes. Oh, the ball is so cute.
Yes, it's actually a hockey puck. Very well. Good.
Oh, stop hitting each other. You're hitting each other.
Yes, well, there's a pass break, and
Go, 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 go. Whoops.
thank you.
Hi, my name is Carson. I come from Hawaii and Stephanie. Can you say I love you now so and she not yeah. Can you say something as crocodile?
I love you!
Oh, thank you. Woo!
Thank you.
So I want to apologize because my friend and I just got here like half an hour ago. So I want to apologize if this question has already been asked. If it was, just send me back to my seat so I can sit down and shut up. And it's kind of a variation of what someone asked earlier. And I would like you guys to be as honest as you possibly can. What's the least favorite part of your job?
Not working.
Yeah, not working stinks. Right now, the least favorite part of my job is being frustrated by things that happen in the industry that prevents us from, how do I say this? I'm trying to be PC, I guess. The anime industry in the United States financially is not doing well in terms of sales. And I get frustrated to have to repeat myself to speak out against illegal downloading or streaming from illegal sites. I know that several studios in Los Angeles, because also I've worked as a producer like since 2000, so I know what bids were for a show per episode back then and what bids are now, and what needs to happen for budgets in terms of the actors and otherwise. And, you know, that's an over 10-year period of time, and just like the minimum wage, you'd expect for it to go up. But when the industry is shrinking, it's hard to keep doing this work where the rates aren't going up, or if they are going up, the studio is getting squeezed in other ways because there are not enough sales, because people are not paying for anime. That said, I do think the anime industry needs to have a better viable option in terms of online content. There are options out there, but the payback that they get is so small. It's literally less than $1 per click on some of the stuff that it's really hard for them to make money. So it frustrates me to come to a convention and see so many attendees and know pretty much like a lot of people are not paying for anime. That's frustrating. That's probably the suckiest part about it.
It's an industry that caters to its clientele, which in large part is very, very computer literate and very savvy. And the notion that it's a victimless crime, who am I hurting downloading something, is a crock of horse shit. Because I'm telling you who it's hurting. It's hurting everyone in this room. It's hurting us. It's hurting everybody. That's why these companies are going out of business. This is a business. If they can't make money, they're not going to do it. So yeah, absolutely. I got to totally echo what Stephanie says. It's frustrating. I was at a Toricon last weekend, and the convention head came up. Could not have been more happy. He goes, "We caught 3 vendors today. We kicked their butts out. because they were selling bootlegs. You know, I mean, you think in your house when you're downloading something, who am I hurting? If you're not making money, no one's going to produce it. Pure and simple. It's basic economics. Basic, you know, supply and demand. And so, yeah, that is the bummer part about our job.
And for those of you, I don't know, you maybe already know this, but like, the Japanese side also hurts when that happens. Because in order for something to be produced in the United States, even if you don't watch the dub, the U.S. companies have to pay a royalty. They have to pay something back to the Japanese companies. And that's at a per unit cost. They pay upfront to minimum guarantee, which means that we're guaranteed to sell like, but back in my day, 10,000 units. Now it's like 2,000 units, okay? That's a huge difference. So anything beyond that, if they sell more than that, they still have to pay a percentage for each Blu-ray, for each DVD that is sold back to Japan. So for someone to say, well, I just watch from an illegal streaming site because I don't care about the English version, I just care about the Japanese, you're also hurting the Japanese creators. You know, it's a huge thing. And I get that, you know, times are tough and people don't have that much money, but you guys can get an entire season for like $29.99. Do you know that I started out as a fan? And for me, before, I would buy DVDs that had sometimes 3 episodes on it for $29.99. And this was over 10 years ago. So you know what I mean? It's like, so I don't have that much sympathy for somebody who says like, oh, I can't afford it, you know? Like, I mean, I get it. Then save your money. If you can't afford it, then don't watch it. Borrow it from somebody who got it, you know, legally, or do stuff on Netflix, you know? Hulu.
Crunchyroll,
exactly. All right, I'm done.
Sort of wrapping it up just a little bit. I just wanted to say Lord Stein's experiments are going a little too far. Look at this. I mean, how am I going to get Maka to love Papa if Papa isn't Papa anymore? Thank you, my baby girl. Thank you. Anyway, I did have a question. I wanted to know, have either of you auditioned for a role, voice acting or otherwise, and not gotten it? And if so, what do you think you could have done to possibly have increased your chances of getting that role that you really wanted?
There are a lot of roles I don't get.
Yeah, a lot of roles, yeah.
There's a lot of roles I don't get. And I feel like, but I can't use specific ones right now. I just like, because you know what, I try not to hold on to it. I think when I started out in the business, it was more like, oh, I was driving crazy. And now it's just like, all right, did get that one. Move on to the next thing. I'm working on these things, and so I don't hold on to it anymore. And if I knew what I could do to get it, I would have done it. So.
Yeah, I mean, again, this goes back to, as well, the young lady that came up and wants to be an actress. You know, we audition for tons and tons of stuff, and you're not going to get everything. And you really have to just you audition and you let it go. If you get it, great. If you don't, you move on. I mean, you can't worry about it. I just auditioned for a new show at Funimation, and I probably auditioned for 5 or 6 different roles. And so I'm just hoping I get cast. I don't really care which character it is. Generally speaking, I don't get the lead roles. I'm usually supporting characters and stuff like that, or villains and stuff like that, because I don't have a, stupid voice like Abercorn or Vic, I'm kidding. They're mega talented guys and awesome. But that's just the way I am. So also, what I do, and I imagine Stephanie probably runs into the same thing, she works and we work with so many different people, and they know what we can do. And they know, well, that's great, I'm glad you auditioned for that voice, but I need you as this, because that's what I know you can do, and they'll just kind of plop you. It's sort of like a typecasting a little bit.
Okay.
But again, it's better than not casting.
Yeah. And then as another side question, I was actually going to draw the two of you as well as with a picture of at least 2 or 3 of your characters interacting with each other.
I was unable to finish them before con. Is there a way I could somehow get those sent to you guys? Do you know? And if any-
You can send it to my email or Facebook me.
Can
Okay.
you scan it and post it on Facebook or something?
I can.
And everybody can see it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm alcoholic, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm sorry, I showed up a little bit late, but I know a lot of actors, especially voice actors, seem to have some level of musical inclination, or that they have experience being drummers or singers or piano players or whatever. Do either of you two have any musical history or musical inclination? And if you do, has it helped you at all?
You say?
You said that you would do music stuff, right?
Yeah, I play guitar, and I used to be in a band called PC Cowboys. You can find it on iTunes. And in fact, I have a song about the Pacific Northwest. It's called Spawning Time. And it's about salmon getting it on. So check it out. It's on iTunes. But yeah, so I mean, it hasn't really played. Sometimes it's helpful, just if your character has to do something. But I do think understanding music a little bit helps, just because it has a rhythm to it, and voice acting has a particular rhythm to it sometimes, and that's somewhat helpful.
I love to sing. I don't have the best voice, and I don't have perfect pitch. I have decent pitch. I don't have perfect pitch. I've been in choirs all throughout my school, junior high, high school, and stuff like that. Although I will say this, that probably you and I both have some kind of musical inclination, and I guarantee you it helps us when we're doing anime dubbing in a way that it's probably not even conscious. Like it's just in you. Because I've seen other people who aren't musical at all come in and try to do it, and they can't do the ADR. The ADR is so hard for them. And yeah, sure, sometimes you get a tricky line or two, but it's not that, it's like kind of just, you just do it, right? You just do it. And you can probably do it with your eyes closed. If you heard the Japanese rhythm, and you got the repeat, you're like, well, do it with your eyes closed.
Yeah, exactly. What you said.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Hi there, I was just wondering, I guess your previous answer might somewhat answer this, but I was wondering what sort of day jobs or careers you guys had before you were able to become full-time actors, what you used to pay the bills while you were pursuing your dreams.
I sold perfume. I sold vitamins. I worked as a waiter. I worked for a delivery company. I did all kinds of things. And actually, truth be told, this is not all I do. I'm also I do producing for a corporation. And I do a lot of stuff like that. I do, just kind of a lot of different things. And, but golly, I was actually, about a year and a half ago, had taken a job with a friend of mine who had a restaurant to wait tables just to make some extra money. Because, I've got 3 kids, and I tried to sell one, and it didn't work out. So I had to make more money to pay for them. So, I'm kind of a workaholic in that I like to, whatever I have to do, I have to do. But it's, in Houston, you have to be sort of a jack of all trades. But right now, my day job is actually doing producing. So.
Cool, thanks.
I worked, my first job out of college was producing anime. So, I totally lucked out because the company was new. They never produced anime before, and since it was new, they didn't know anybody, 1, and 2, it was like a startup, so they didn't have any money. So they hired me because I was cheap, relatively speaking, and I had a mass communications degree with a business specialization, and I had an acting background, and I had done voiceover for them for a CD-ROM. Funny enough, it was directed by Amanda Woodley. That was my very first voiceover job.
As was mine.
And so I've never had necessarily a day job, so to speak. I guess that was kind of a day job, but all of my jobs that I do is somehow related to anime production and directing or producing or casting or writing scripts. I've rewritten manga as well. So it's all been kind of related to that.
Well, lucky you.
Very lucky. I'm totally blessed. Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
So your voices are your, tools, they pay the bills and all that stuff. So what do you guys do when you get sick for a while? And like, how do you guys kind of get yourself healthy again,
Therapy. And brandy. No, I just drink brandy anyway.
What I have to do is with Amanda Plummer. She's.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who she is? She's like
Actress.
Christopher Plummer's daughter, and she's in Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, and a lot of other stuff. Anyways, she told me to not bottle tequila. She said that would kill the church.
Yeah.
I drink a little bit. I'm not sure. Yeah, but everyone has all sorts of tricks. I net pot. I take a lot of vitamins. I'm crazy healthy. I go to a health food store and I walk. When I walk out, I spend like $200 and I'm like, ooh. It's like everything they have on the shelf will like make my life all of a sudden. This will give me perfect vision. This will and I get separated off and stuff. So I take a whole bunch of things like that. And then a lot of rest. I think sleep is the best thing. You try to work around your whatever's making you sound funny or how you feel, but sometimes just the best thing that you can do for your work is when you're sick is to stop working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a completely random question, but between the two of you, how many costumes in this room do you think you could name?
Come on.
There's a rabbit. There's a guy that's just in a t-shirt.
That's a full, no, one of the alchemist things. I don't know. There's another.
Oh, and I.
There's a pony.
Is there a pony?
Your little pony?
It's hard. I'm so out of the loop.
All the ones that I can recognize actually just left.
Yes.
You're looking at Saul Evans.
I'm so out of the loop. I'm such a bad talker. I'm out of the loop. I'm sorry.
I'm terrible.
I can name like 4. This could name that too. I can name 4 cosplay. Sorry.
Name 4 cosplay characters. Go ahead.
I also came late, so I'm sorry if I
Can you step a little closer to the mic?
Okay. I also came late, so I'm sorry. Same question. For Stephanie, do you think Naruto is actually your type? And if not, like, what is your type? Like, what Naruto
Is Naruto Stephanie Sheh's type?
Yeah, like, what is your favorite Naruto guy? Like, which one of them would you realistically be interested in if they were real?
It's not Naruto, that's for sure. I mean, I appreciate the qualities in him. First of all, too, for me, he seems like a child too much. Like, he doesn't seem like a man, And for Hinata, maybe that's okay, because she's still pretty young, but everyone still. I mean, I'd probably go more for Sasuke.
Well, I think we also established earlier she wants to date John Swasey.
It's like having what?
It's not that big a deal. Thank you.
Okay, so cool. My question is about like the anime industry. What do you think, like what is your opinion on the future of the industry?
I hope it just keeps going and growing, you know? I don't, I'll be honest with you, I think you know a lot more about it than I do. I mean, I'm like a mushroom in the dark.
I can't predict. I feel like I can't predict, you know? But I feel like the key is to have some sort of business model that will make it profitable again. For not just US, but also for Japan. And if that doesn't happen, I think it'll always be around. But really, like, it's not going to bloom to its full potential. Like, I feel like there was a time when it was could potentially go mainstream, and then stuff happened, be it the fault of anime companies or fandom or both, you know, it didn't happen, and now it's fringe again. Even though there are a lot of like fans, hardcore fans, it's not something that was able to move beyond, you know, like that, to enter into the mainstream, I guess. Yeah, the whole thing about the anime industry tells me is that when it's the fandom itself that is negatively impacting the industry, which I feel like it has been, you know, and so that's frustrating. I just feel like there needs to be some kind of business model. I think that the sad thing about the streaming is that right now the pay models for the pay structures for streaming is so low for the companies that it's so hard for them to make money or even break even to have it on the screen. But they just do that because if they don't have it there, the option is for somebody to steal it, which is going to happen and is happening anyway. So they just have it there like, at a loss anyway, just to have it out. And we need to find a way to have it so that you guys are paying, but not the viewers are paying. If all of you guys, if all of fandom was paying for your anime, then in a way, you wouldn't have to pay as much because the numbers would be spread out and everyone would be kind of absorbing costs and everybody would be happy. But right now, I just feel like it's like a subset of the fandom. I'm not even just talking about the United States, it's a problem worldwide. I talked to a friend who was in charge of streaming for Amazon, and they don't really do any streaming or anything, but because he researches the market, and he does all this stuff, that's his job. And when I told him I walked in the anime industry, he was like, oh, I was like, did you know what the numbers are for illegal downloads? Like, you know what the most pirated stuff is on the internet worldwide? It's anime. More than Hollywood movies, more than music, more than anything that is mainstream. The most pirated stuff is anime worldwide. So I don't know, I just hope it gets better. I feel like, you know, I do my part. I pray and I hope. I think it'll always be around. I don't think it will collapse, but it'll find a way to survive. And hopefully it'll find a way to balance itself out and be profitable.
Okay, and like a quick follow-up question, do you like know of any companies that are able to that are starting to develop like business models that are profiting in this economy?
I haven't been to town in the last few years, so I don't know what's going on, so I can't really speak to that. Like Bandai was trying to do some sort of Bandai channel, but I don't think that's happening anymore now.
Didn't work out.
I mean, Bandai, the Japan parent company, is still around, so I don't know what they're doing. It's hard, I don't know. I'm not part of that. Right now, I'm a little tired, I guess, of the fight. I still feel like I need to fight for the cause, but it's exhausting. I get hate tweets sometimes about it. Believe it or not, people tweet me and say, how do you sleep at night knowing the